from our guest. Into executive session here,
So
please,
moved.
for the purpose of discussing the potential bearing with us. Just for the minutes, Gail, this meeting was officially convened at 9:05. When Len arrived, we had a quorum at that time. Would you kindly,
Sure.
Mel, just confirm the roll call now?
I'd like to confirm the roll call. Ken Cooley,
Here.
Lynn Lenahan,
Here.
Amanda Lowe,
Here.
Candace Morrison,
Here.
Carrie Phillips, I know she's excused, Chair Stone,
Here?
and Cameron Lloyd, I know he's
And
excused.
that was the case as of 9:05, so that's when we officially convened. And we immediately went into executive session for the purpose of talking about the potential acquisition, either by sale or lease, of real estate under circumstances where market values might be affected by that discussion. And we had a robust discussion, very, very productive. We took no formal action in executive session and voted to come out of executive session. So that is our report on our executive session. Thank you again for your patience, everyone. We're now going to move into the regular type meeting that we have. We had to accommodate the executive session attendees who were advising us on topics, and that's why we changed the order here. And again, thank you for bearing with us. So we had our roll call, and we will now, the minutes have been circulated from our May 30th meeting. I had no comments on those, even for of minor things, so anyone want to offer a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Len. Second?
Second?
All right. All in favor of approving our board minutes from May 30th as circulated? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
And any opposed? Those are approved. Thank you, Gail. Committee items for approval. We have a light agenda of approvals, relatively routine matters. We'll vote on them by committees, starting with Chair Ken Cooley, and our budget, audit, and facilities, one item, just disposal.
It's just the disposal of an excavator at the South Campus that's no longer used.
All right. And I noted we got a trade-in value on that too. That was
Right.
nice. So actually above its market value.
Nice.
All in favor of approving the disposal of materials as circulated for us today? Or a motion to approve?
Aye.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Sorry. And all in favor?
Aye.
That is approved, sir. Curriculum, student success, and diversity canvas. One thing I did want to mention, it's almost an offline thing, but as between the title of your committee and Amanda's, it gives thought to whether whether the diversity aspect belongs in one or both. And I just noted as I was going through, diversity is here and there. I don't want to dilute the importance of that by spreading it out too thin, if that's your view. But just work together offline and see if you want to come up with a plan or leave it as it is.
Sure, I'll just make a note that to respond to that quickly, I think leaving it probably in both is important
Okay.
because those are they touch on two different aspects of what we're doing. One really focused on curriculum and students, the other more focused, at least, in my mind and Amanda, if you think differently on HR and human resources matters. So in my mind, I think it's important that they both stay, but we can certainly
Yep.
discuss.
If it's a matter of doubling down instead of diluting, I'm fine with that. I just didn't want to I wanted to focus on it briefly.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you, Jeff.
All right.
Okay, so we have two items on the agenda this morning. Both of these items, we met in, I think, June 10th or 14th. And Eric is not here this
Yeah,
morning.
I could
so I'll
respond
just-
to it if you need.
Okay, so Dr. Sagai, do
Sure.
you have anything to note on these items?
And not to note, but I think these are two items. The Erie County Department of Social Services, this is a partnership with our Health Human Services. It gives our students the opportunity to do their internship with the Department of Social Services. So we would like that to continue. And then the second item is a renewal affiliation agreement with the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, specifically to our radiation degree, and we want to continue that partnership with the university.
And both of these items, we had a robust discussion during the committee meetings. Both, I think, are good for the students, so no concerns.
All right. Absent any questions, would you like to make a motion to approve both items?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion on either or questions? I thought they were both. Actually, these are things we've seen every year.
Correct.
Yeah, so,
Correct.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Both items are approved. Talent, diversity, anything else?
No.
Ken? Okay. Talent, diversity, equity, and belonging, Amanda.
So we met in June, which resulted in the human resource personnel agenda that you see attached in your materials. There's not too many items, but very important issues. One for Colleen Reedy, who is here, so thank you for being here. It's a title change for Vice President of Student Affairs, which we're very excited about. We really appreciate all the work that you've done on behalf of the college and the college community. It's fantastic, and we just want to,
Yes.
recognize you all the time. So this will be a title change that's listed there, and then there's 2 additional items, request to hire. One is going to be an executive director of legal affairs that will be in the human resources department, and then an administrative assistant as well. And so those 2 items are listed, and we would like approval for the 1 title change and 2 requests for hire.
Absent any questions, would you like to make a motion to approve both items?
So moved.
Second.
And all, any questions or comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is, our personnel agenda as presented is approved. We have informational items. Now that we've moved past our approvals, we'll start with Ken again, please, on budget audit and facilities.
The first 2, facility rentals and supply reports, information's been distributed. There's nothing worth noting in those reports. Arda, if you'd like to just give us a brief update on where we stand. It looks like everything is moving along the way we expected.
That's exactly right. There's really no update at this point in time for the financial dashboard that's before you. However, we are expecting to finish the year strong this fiscal year. Revenues, tuition and fees are projected to be roughly 1% better than budget, and between 3.5 and 4% at most as far as tuition and fees compared to prior year. We are still expecting year-end entries for the year. We have a bad debt that we have to record. We're still waiting on the 4th quarter payment that we just recently received from New York State. As far as expenses, they are just as where we expect them. Our fund balance is supposed to be a healthy one. One more thing this year we might see that we haven't seen is some funding from the county related to the ASME and the CSCA negotiations that we had in 2021. The county had a resolution that they would assist the college with some additional funding. So those discussions are still ongoing and reviewing, but we may see some additional funding added to our fund balance for this year.
The one other thing that we should probably mention is that there was some information from the governor's office this week about the extra $8 million for community colleges, which provides $5 million divided by 30 colleges, between $75,000 and $350,000 per campus, and it's directed to adding staff in the health field or doing other things related to health education. So how much we get from that, I suppose it's going to be determined somewhat on enrollment, but it'll be somewhere in the range of 75 to 350 each year. And then $3 million coming to all 30 campuses for mental health services for students, and that is divided equally. So I'm not sure what we have now in the way of those services, but that would be some additional money that it could pay for those things.
So
I
just,
can add,
go ahead, Kyle.
so for Erie, we are expected to receive roughly $321,000 of those funds, of the $8 million. There's a plan that we have to submit to SUNY, and it's due July 15th, so the team is working on that.
So we're getting one of the bigger shares then.
Yes, based on the enrollment numbers. It was,
Ken said it was divided equally, the second
Yeah.
component, that's not by student population or size?
it's done literally by student population in the healthcare field. I'm not
Oh.
entirely sure exactly how.
So if it's
the-
done by
No,
head
the
count,
mental health portion of it.
The mental health
The
calculation?
$3 million in the mental health program. That's part of the SUNY.
Oh, yes. That was based on enrollment.
oh, enrollment.
No, it's divided, at least from the governor's office, it says, they all get the same.
Also, there's the
The
mental health.
the 5 million
portion.
is-
Yes, the
Yep.
5 million
5
is.
million is split for
I apologize.
health
You're right.
education,
100%.
and the 3 million is just.
So roughly
shared
Equally,
equally.
100,000
yes,
per
yes.
campus.
100,000 per
ish.
campus it
Okay.
is.
All right. Well, that's great. Last meeting, we talked about this 8 million, and the meeting before, we saw it coming. Adiam reported in her president's report that the chancellor took feedback at
Yes,
an event
yes.
you went to, and was looking for feedback and would incorporate it. There was talk of the health and mental health and so forth. So it all has come to fruition relatively quickly by
Yeah.
state standards. So I'm glad. Thanks, Ken, for that report.
Thank you.
Was that it on information?
Yes.
All right.
We do have the health, labor health management thing, which we talked about in committee, that was running a little negative, but that doesn't directly affect our rates at this point, is that correct?
That is correct. So the overall performance for this year, it's as you can see, it's actually going into the negatives because LMHF, our claims our health insurance costs are technically based on actual claims. However, LMHF does manage our fund, and we are part of that consortium. And the way they calculate it, sometimes we feed off of each other, and based on the overall performance is where we fall. We did have one big claim just recently in April that has increased our insurance claims. However, in there, if you look at the reconciliations, there's a stop loss credit. So basically, there's a threshold where a person can actually claim where a different insurance kicks in and kind of gives us credits for those losses. So
Yeah, that's the protection we have in the form of almost reinsurance, if you're familiar with that concept. We will cover up to a certain spot, but if it gets catastrophic, someone else takes over.
I think it'll be interesting come year end when we perform like a whole annual reconciliation and review all of our claims. That will determine basically how much we have spent for the year and make some choices for next year.
We do keep an eye on that in the budget committee and at the board level, just to see if there's any dramatic negative or positive. Generally, it's been positive over the years I've been on the board. So it's a little unusual. That's why we're talking about it when there's a slight negative tick.
There is some changes coming with that. As you can see, Maureen Ranger is not here today because the meeting is happening now. So I do understand that there will be some changes overall to the process and to the provider, and we'll get that information to the budget committee.
Thank you. Thank you, Artie.
All right.
Yep, thanks, Arta. Thanks, Ken. And Candace, you would just have information in your minutes, right?
Yep, just the minutes, and I'll just make a quick note. If you look in the minutes, you'll note that the two items that we voted on this morning are mentioned in the main minutes. That was no big issue. It's just one item we were waiting on some additional information that Kathy was able to get for us, and the other item was just mentioned, but the documents weren't prepared, so we discussed it at the June meeting, and then we came in front of the board today.
I'd like to thank all the committee chairs for making an effort. I know our budget committee meets every month regularly, and that's important. Not every committee will meet on a scheduled basis, somewhat as needed, or every other month, but the regularity of meetings is a good thing. Thank you for that. We have then marketing and policy and governance. Marketing, Len?
Happy to announce that we have a new marketing vice president here today, and Adia will introduce her. So we've scheduled a meeting for August 15th so we can
Angelica.
develop our marketing agenda and our platform.
Yes. Angelica Morrison, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello.
Nice to meet
Enjoyed
everybody.
it?
Very nice to meet you.
Great to be here, fresh out of City Hall.
This might be a good time. You want to just join us at the table and fill us in a little bit
Sure.
on your background? That'd be great.
Yeah,
Congratulations and
absolutely.
welcome.
Thank you, thank you. All right, well, it's really great to be here. Everybody's been so kind and welcoming, and snacks. Snacks. No, not at all. But, yeah, so coming out of City Hall, I was there for a little over 2 years. Prior to that, I was at Channel 4 for a little over 3 years. Overall, I have a career of over 20 years of experience as a journalist, newspapers, broadcast, radio, online, you name it. So I am someone who's worn lots of different hats and am multi-skilled. So I am proficient in social media, video, photography, and of course writing of the press releases. As you guys were talking about some of the things, I'm taking notes for future press releases that we can do. So I'm definitely excited to hit the ground running, and thank you for bringing me on.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. We're
Thank you so
delighted
much.
you're here. That's great. So August 15th, that's good. So by the time we meet again at late summer, we'll see more progress there. Policy and governance, Vice Chair Melody Baker.
So we did not meet this month, but we do have a meeting scheduled for August, and I certainly look forward to giving you an update then.
All right. Carrie Phillips is excused today. Anything on the
No,
strategic plan?
but we will
front?
be meeting in
Okay.
August.
And then talent, diversity, equity, and belonging informational items, Amanda?
Yep, so we have our May meeting notes there. You'll have the June one, our next board meeting. We have the personnel transaction report, the FFECC and AAECC contractual rank advancements. Those are informational only. We don't vote on those, but those are pursuant to contract. Very exciting for people and going up in their careers. I'm very excited. But I don't really have anything else to report other than those informational items.
All right. And technology, we'll hear from Carrie next
Yes.
meeting probably.
Yes.
She's been doing a good job of overseeing that area. As for my report, brief this month, I've spent a lot of time actually on the road this month, different places professionally and personally, so I haven't had my usual litany of activities, but when I have been in town, I have been hitting, this month in particular, a lot of education-oriented dinners with clients that I have at the firm, and also community and political events and the like, where I see, the people with whom we interact as a college on a frequent basis, and it's always good. Many of you are at the same events, so that's been kind of a steady diet. One such example would be the Erie County Association of School Boards Awards Dinner, which is kind of a in-house baseball thing for the schools and the people who work as superintendents or board members or faculty members. But the key is everybody in the whole secondary school community is there. So, for example, Chris Switek, with whom we're dealing at Frontier, he's the superintendent there, and great opportunity. How's it going? He's very pleased, and just a lot of those little connections are always forged at dinners and events like that. I mentioned the Budget Audit and Facilities Committee meeting on June 13th. I was in town, was able to do that with Ken and Len. And again, thank you for the regularity of that committee's meetings. My weekly meetings, I always mention with Dr. Sagai, that probably sells it a little short. It's almost daily.
Yes.
But we're always in touch, and there's always things going on. And Adiam, I appreciate that you've done a great job of keeping me, and through me, the board, informed of what you have in mind, what you're doing. It's a very active agenda that's going on with Dr. Sagai, and we all know that. And it's exciting to have that degree of nice, positive communication between the board and our president. July 2nd, speaking of good positive meetings, is our regular monthly meeting that Dr. Sagai and I have with the Rath Building, our county executive, Ben Swanakamp, his chief of staff, and sometimes Josh Bunnell on the labor side, and others as needed, depending on what the topic is being discussed. We have that meeting coming up on July 2nd, and they've been very good about keeping that a regular item. Appreciate that from our county executive. July 8th, just to mark your calendar for those who are not yet focused or aware on it, right after the holiday, the Monday after the holiday, Independence Day, we will have the Foundation's golf event at Transit Valley. For trustees, it's great to try to come out for the golf or the cocktail hour or dinner or all. I'm sure I will be playing golf in that and staying for the dinner and the event. So it's very well attended, and I do appreciate our foundation's efforts to stage that event. And I understand all the foursomes have been sold, so that's great. And that means there'll be a nice full room. But for trustees, if you are not playing golf, the way to handle that event, I think, is to come out circa late afternoon as golf is ending, go to the cocktail hour, have dinner, figure it out with the foundation, make a little contribution. And that's a good way to show the flag and your support for the college. and the foundation. No July Board of Trustees meeting at this point. If any circumstances create the need for a meeting in a month where we don't have a meeting scheduled, such as July, we are always able to convene with appropriate notice to have such a meeting if needed. But our next meeting scheduled is in August. And while we're all marking our calendars, there is an important date forward. Dr. Sagai, there will be an inaugural celebration of her presidency. Our permanent president, our ECC graduate, and all the other many accolades that we've all heard referred to Dr. Sagai as she's gone through this long process to become our permanent president. But she is the 13th president of SUNY Erie Community College, and on Monday, September 23rd at 2 p.m., that is a real mark your calendar. Let's be there supporting Dr. Sagai as she is officially welcomed by the Chancellor and other officials of SUNY, and as she delivers her first annual State of the College address, which we've talked about at this table. It's like the mayor, the county executive, you're running a large organization here that has a huge impact on our community and all the people who live in Erie County and beyond. So this will be a great chance to frame what's happening here for the public and for those very interested. So I'm looking forward very much to that event. That will conclude my report. As for student trustee, Cam Lloyd had a conflict that in a personal situation, and our thoughts are with Cam and his family. And he will not be at this meeting and not be giving a report, but we'll keep it. He is continuing as our student trustee.
Yes. That's
We
right.
know that, right? So
Yes.
that was great. He's done a wonderful job. Very, very engaged. Colleen Quinn, our Senate president is not here today. She's excused. But I know they did meet for the final time of the year in June, and they will take a little pause for the summer and meet again in September. But Gail, if you could just always let the trustees know and give us the YouTube link when the Senate, because as we can, we will tune into that.
Yes.
So that concludes that part up to your report, Dr. Sagai.
Sure, thank you. Gail, do you want to continue on the inauguration update?
Sure.
Gail is leading that
Oh, great.
wonderful celebration.
Can't believe it's almost been a year.
Getting there.
So as Jeff said, the inauguration is September 23rd at 2:00 p.m. Immediately following it will be a reception. It's all happening on city campus. We met with Beth Del Genio and Justin Jacobus from UV, and they gave us some great tips and some ideas and advice. President Tripathi's inauguration several years ago included his State of the College too, so they were able to give us some tips on that too, and they were very helpful. Dr. Sagai finalized her listening session. She had the ones with the students and then the faculty, one at each campus for both of those groups. And then she had the community listening session last week, which was a nice little turnout, and she received input from all of these sessions that she had that she's going to incorporate into her State of the College address, some of their suggestions, ideas, what's good, what's bad about the college. And the chancellor, as Jeff said, will perform the investiture. And there's a lot, when we met with the UB people, they just got us all excited. They said it's a very exciting event. It's very similar to commencement with the pomp and circumstance and the robing and the procession, and so it's gonna be a nice event. And a committee is being formed, and the save the dates are going out on Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank you.
I will be in LA. I am heartbroken.
No, that's okay, because Zoom in.
I'll FaceTime you.
Oh, okay. That'll be fine.
Maybe we can zoom you in for a remarks or pre-record
this
something.
is heartbreaking. I'm gonna miss the inaugural.
Well, we'll figure it out maybe. And who knows, schedules change, but
Yeah.
we'll see if we can
Oh,
get.
that schedule's not going to change, I
Yeah,
can
that's
tell
not
you
gonna
that.
change.
That's not
It's not gonna
changing.
change, but I would love to zoom in or figure
It
out
took
a
that
way
long
to
to, I didn't
engage
realize
in some way.
how important.
Video remarks or something. You know.
Just to give you a little bit of my report as well, it's been a sort of a wonderful summer, very exciting. We're still, I know sometimes people think we're off during the summer. We're not. We have a thriving summer session that's taking place with our faculty and staff, and certainly the senior leadership and the event. So some of these events I wasn't able to attend, so certainly our team is attending those events when I'm not able to attend. So the Fort Acid graduation, after our graduation, they do a ceremony so you could see those students being celebrated. The Hispanic Heritage Breakfast, that was a wonderful event where we had a table of the college community to really support the Hispanic Heritage organization in Buffalo. And as you could see with the mayor and other public official that we attended, and I know James and some few of other folks, faculty were in attendance there. You can see the EOP award ceremony as well that took place at our campus. That was a wonderful celebration. The drive for charity under Colleen with our students doing that. And Juneteenth was very exciting. We was able to walk with the governor as well as with other public officials, so it was a really wonderful opportunity. But we also had, a table there with our staff recruiting. One of the things that was highlighted for us, and I had a few people come up to me, was that we part of our enrollment initiative, we have a translation. We translated our admission process, our financial aid in 7 different languages. So that was really, telling. We will continue that project to translate academic program in 7 languages. That way we are serving the community. So excited about that. Myself and others were also in attendance. Melody, we were at the NAACP Award Gala. It was wonderful. We had a great time, right?
Lovely.
Our faculty and staff also participated in the Summer Institute as well. You could see that during their break, all of them came and participated. And then we had our Police Academy graduation that it was an excellent turnout as well. Just a few other things I want to mention. We had an opportunity to meet with the governor's office really for an hour to talk about the college and our plan and some of the things that we need help with. One of them is really the mental health, the opportunity, Trustee Ken, regarding the Swim New York. So we have an opportunity to showcase and partner with them. We have a wonderful pool, so we did show them that that's an opportunity for us to connect with them on that effort. I'm also honored to be part of the member of the Greater Buffalo Racial Equity Roundtable. Very excited to be part of that team and to really represent our college. We also had an opportunity, myself, Kathy, James, to meet with Ben Upshaw, who is part of the Buffalo Central Terminal Development, to see where the college could have an opportunity to partner with them in the rebuilding of that site. Continue to participate in the Amherst Chamber of Commerce. Kathy and I presented, as I mentioned last meeting, and so that also went really well. Within that chamber, I am mentoring. They have a mentoring program where I am mentoring one of the individuals to be future leaders. So very excited to be able to give back to the community in that way. So that is what's happening on this side.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for the visuals too, they're great. In terms of old business, we do have the transportation report and update. We have some movement on that front this month. Do you want to pick up on that? This is the SUNY survey and our decision
Yes.
about what we would do
So-
in the wake of that.
Absolutely, and I don't know if Kathy, Colleen could talk to that a little bit in terms of the transportation,
Oh, sure. As far as
the
budget
meeting and the
meeting-
survey.
Yep, okay. One thing I have done this, since we last met, is I met with Cedar Bus, the general manager, with a preliminary meeting to establish a better relationship with them. And him and the owner are actually gonna be at the golf outing, and I'm gonna meet with them that evening as well. But there was a survey that SUNY did about transportation. The issue was only 7% of our students responded. The details, came out that they were not really happy with the transportation options and the parking, but because of the low turnout of the response for that survey, there is going to be a survey that we're going to put out that is going to be a student survey that'll, in addition to, we'll have transportation in that one survey. And that's going to be going out this fall.
Okay,
Thank
this
you.
is, the idea here is just to keep this in front of us
Sure.
at budget every month. We talk at least briefly about this. That's because all of us have heard these concerns. We want to address them.
Just a quick question about the transportation. Is there just some sort of marketing going out to support student participation in the survey, just letting them know that this is for you, this is really important? Because one of the things that I've heard is the transportation. You know, yeah.
Can I speak to the survey? So the survey that Colleen is referencing is they do it SUNY does a student's opinion survey every 3 years. Last year was the year that SUNY did their survey. That survey has baselines that you're supposed to hit, and normally SUNY will push that survey multiple times to ensure that the college has at least a 15% participation rate. For some reason, when the results came back, SUNY Erie had a 7%. A lot of the colleges are experiencing the same sort of outcome, low response rate on that survey. So we will be doing our own on our survey. So that was managed by SUNY, not by us.
Oh.
So moving forward, we will manage the distribution and kind of manage the responses as well.
I think that's good.
In addition to that, though, I think we are very glad to have our VP of Marketing and Communication, because that is a focus that we have to do in terms of how do we communicate to our students, because in part we communicate a lot. And so a lot of times our students don't see the value of those things. So we are working with the marketing and really coming out with a plan as to what we want to do in the fall, and be very clear and be mindful about the kind of information and the way in which we send information to our students. So that's part of the plan that Student Affairs and the marketing will work on to do better with our continued students, but also our future students.
That's great. I think just with having it come out with the title SUNY Erie, just I know that if I'm looking at this big entity and then my school, I'm going to fill out my school stuff. So I think that alone is going to be a remarkable participation difference just from somebody who works in psychometrics.
I agree. Our own survey
Yeah.
will get a better attention than something coming from Albany.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. Now, State of the College, we've covered that thoroughly and looking forward to that. One other point just to note, as we break for the summer to some extent, when we reconvene in the fall, we've, I think, agreed that we want to move these board meetings to different SUNY Erie locations. And I chose not to say campuses specifically. If you want to meet at Northland or somewhere, bring the trustees. I just want all of us to be all over this campus.
I love that idea.
Yeah, we did that when I was first on the board, I think, and I found it very valuable. And let's do that. This is a very convenient room. This will sometimes be where we meet, but, and shall we leave that with you?
Absolutely. We're
Yeah.
working through that with the President's Office and
Okay.
Bob to help with the logistic. There's some things that we're doing at the city campus right now, so as soon as we
If
get
it creates any hardships of some sort, we'll deal with those, or we'll reserve the right to change our minds. But right now, that's what we want to do. Okay. Any other old business? That's all I had for that category. As for new, I have a couple items, but anyone else before I get going with those?
I did want to know about, I know we've talked about it in the past. I don't want to add length to the board meeting, certainly, but just like where we are with additional board members, and that does not.
Oh, that's one of my items, actually. Yes. We are, I'll start with that. We are doing a little better. We've had meetings, various members of the board who connect in some way with state officials, the governor's office, Mo locally, Bonnie Kane Lockwood, Adium has been, and Len and I, among others, Ken, I think. We've all been in the ear of people, somewhat informally, like, hey, let's get these resolved. And it's actually moving. I wouldn't say that we have a clear idea of exactly which trustees, but some names have been discussed. Some names have been offered by the people with whom we're talking, and something is going to happen soon, and my goal is to have 10 people at the table in September. So these are gubernatorial, by the way. Mark Polenkars, our Erie County executive, has filled out his appointments. So more on that, I think, offline, and we'll see exactly where we go. People who have ideas whose names we should, put forward as potential. Ultimately, it's the governor's decision, not ours, but we can have some degree of influence by saying, here's what we think the board could use, a perspective we could use, here's a name, someone I'm very impressed with, that sort of thing. So I'll certainly forward any such emails that I get from any of you, or I have literally a list of potential candidates that we work through when we get someone's ear.
I was thinking about board members as well, and just thinking about some of like the folks that I talk to. I think that we often like select. There's a lot of people who are on a lot of boards. Like I am one of those people. I'm on like 5 boards, which is ridiculous. I need to narrow my focus, but a lot of them do get pulled. And then so like when I've asked folks to be on boards, not necessarily this one, but they're like, I'm on like 4 different boards, and in terms of like being able to really provide quality support and like really fully be engaged. I'm just wondering, what are those opportunities? Just because some of the folks that I like can think of on the top of my head, I know for a fact they're already on like 3-4 boards. Like how do we?
There's a lot of interest in being on this board.
Oh, good.
The impact that this board has in the community is huge. I think matters we've discussed today in public and in private.
I think it's great.
The people who are, quote, on the list that I've sort of assembled through emails and connections and talks, almost universally have said, wow, I would love to serve on that board.
That's fantastic.
So it's not like we have to browbeat people into being on the board.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of which persons would do the best at making our discussions more robust and representative, and also what the governor thinks.
That's good. Well, I have a lot of confidence in you, the team that you put together for the committee.
Oh, the search?
Incredible. Yeah.
Well, hopefully that was I like that team as
Me
well,
too.
and I think hopefully the board, I'd love this board of 8, but we should be 10. We should be 10. Gail, quick housekeeping note, 2025 retreat. I think we have it scheduled in February, but if it is not already scheduled, we need to make sure we do before we start losing people.
Yes,
And-
I'm preparing a list of proposed dates for you.
Oh, are you?
To
Okay.
review, and then I'll bring it to the.
Because I think we actually looked at a date, a Friday in February, if I'm not mistaken, but
Possibly.
if that date exists, could you remind us all of it so we could mark
Sure.
our calendars? We're now only 6 months away.
Is that for our board retreat?
Yes.
Can I propose an idea that no one has to agree with, but
I sense you're going to.
is it possible to, in February, to have our board retreat and board meeting combined? So that we're not having a board meeting and a board retreat in the same month.
I would be open to that, I think. It would be in the morning and then carry on.
I thought that our last board meeting was the board. I mean, I thought our last board retreat, I thought it was the combined, and then we had a board meeting
Oh.
that same
Yeah.
month.
Gail, why don't you give that some thought?
Sure.
I'm open to that. Because our board meeting can be in the morning, and then it depends if we have a guest coming in and a lot of things. But we did meet here at North, so it's not like we were logistically in 2 different places. New trustees, the retreat. Oh, and this is important. We are coming up, time flies, on the time when we must elect officers in September for our board. So the last time we did that was in 2022, September. And it's 2-year terms under our arrangements. So what I was going to propose, subject to any pushback, I haven't really talked about this offline with anyone, but Len handled that last time as our most senior board member, and who knows exactly how long Len is on this board. He sometimes will make noises. I don't know if we have 3 vacancies, I don't know. But while we still have you.
How senior are you gonna make me?
You are pretty senior.
You're the senior. Any way you look at it.
One nice thing about Len, he knows us all well. We all know each other, but he's also chaired the board. He's chaired many, public bodies, and sort of has a good feel for folks. So I was going to suggest the role, the nominating committee, which basically would be Len or anyone else you sought to seek
Sure.
help from. Maybe Candace helped last time, I'm trying to remember. If you guys could set this up to solicit input privately from all trustees, all 8 of us, as to individual desires or plans and how we all feel about who might fit in the 4 offices that we have. Well, actually, we have the vice chair, the chair, and the secretary. But traditionally, the executive committee, at least while I've been on the board, has been those 3, plus the person who was most recently chair who's still on the board to offer, like Len, for example. Denise is no longer on our board, or she would be that person. But since Denise has left the board, Len, as a former chair, was still on it. So that voice of experience is added to the mix. We don't do that much as a foursome executive committees, but sometimes we do, when there's serious personnel things. Mostly we work as an 8-person group, but there are times when the 4 is convenient. So bear that in mind. Are you willing to take that on?
Sure.
Okay. And then I think we have to, you remember the timetable. We come back, you propose a slate, we have comments, and then we have a formal action, I believe, in September.
Late September is
Yeah. So if you have thoughts about your own role on the board now and in the future, and who you think should be in the various positions, share them please with Len in the next 30 to 40 days. Okay?
We'll be in touch.
That was all.
Candace, you want to help out again, or?
Yeah, we can discuss.
That is all that I had for new business. Any other new business?
Made some calls.
All right, we've had our executive session. We've returned from that. We reported on that. So at this point, unless there's other topics, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Look at
Thank you,
that.
everyone, for attending today.
Yes, thank you.
Good.